Hi, this is Tavi Greiner, Astronomy.fm's Vice President of Communications. If you enjoy our programming, please let us know with a donation to astronomy.fm/donate. We really do rely on your support, and it's true, every little bit counts.
AFM.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
The curtain of night is drawn back. The telescopes are trained. The domes are open. The audience is set. Now, step into the event horizon.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Event Horizon here on Astronomy.fm radio. It is another Friday evening, and this one happens to be September the 14th, 2018, 9 o'clock in the evening for those of us here in the eastern portion of North America. Universal time, that would put it at 1 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning, again, September the 15th, 2018. 1 o'clock in the morning, Universal time. So that means we're live for the next whole entire hour. And of course, we all invite you to join us in the chat room. My name is Marty Coons. My co-host, Nick Yvette, is out there somewhere. We kind of lost connection just a little bit. And he could hear us, but a little computer program somewhere. So we'll get Nick in as soon as he possibly can. Otherwise, we'll just we'll continue on with What's Up in the Sky. I want to welcome everybody that's in our chat room tonight. So we've got me and Nick's in chat room. Chat designated 579366. Yeah, you can do that if you don't. You can get a number if you don't actually log into as a name on chat room. That's perfectly okay. We got Glenn here, StarStorm, Black Projects, Red Shirt 3. Welcome, everybody. And, of course, chat room is wide open and more than happy to have you come on in and join us. In the chat room, just go to the homepage and you'll see where it says chat. So just click on that, type in a name, erase the password, and then hit login. You'll be in our chat room. I'm glad to have you when you join us. If it's first time in chat, just type in where you're listening in from. That's kind of just fun to know all about that. All right, so let's continue on. We're going to start out with the sun. No sunspots lately. However, the sun is looking pretty active as far as a coronal hole. So there's lots of stuff streaming out of the sun right now. We're expecting some storms to hit us pretty soon. Wind speeds are actually super high right now. Highest they've been in a couple of months at 720 kilometers per second. But the density is way down, like 0.83 protons per cubic centimeter. So we're kind of just picking up some super high winds coming out of the sun. And we had a solar storm about a week ago or so, and we should be having another one coming up pretty soon. It's kind of a blend between speeds and density that gives us the good aurora. So hopefully we'll get some aurora come down into at least the northern U.S. states where I'm at. It'd be nice to actually see something like that, even especially in the off times where we're getting towards solar minimum, where you don't have the big solar flares or big sunspots, but you can have some pretty good streams of particles coming from a coronal hole in the sun. And a good place to see the coronal holes is just go to the NASA SOHO website where it says the sun now, and click on that. You'll see the sun in different wavelengths. So some wavelengths will make it a little bit easier to see the holes. It looks like literally like a dark spot in the sun. And you might notice some bright spots on the sun also. Those are active regions that sometimes you'll see them associated with sunspots, but lately, no. They're just active regions that are visible in off frequencies. So hopefully we'll get some aurora out of the upcoming storms, just for the fun of it. Let's see. So, and of course, get your cameras ready, especially if you live in high latitudes or like down around the Arctic circles, northern or southern, and maybe you'll capture some aurora. It'd be nice to see some stuff like that. Kind of a lot of near-Earth asteroid activity. Ones that are considered close are within 1 million miles, and between the 9th of September and the end of September, probably 20 different near-Earth asteroids that flew by us. some of them, most of them are not real big. Some of them are a little big, but and it depends on how close they are to. As close as a tenth of a lunar distance. The distance to the moon is 250,000 miles-ish. So 1/10 would mean that it flew by, about 25,000 miles. But that was a small one. It's only 12 feet diameter. And there's some bigger ones, 60 feet, 75 feet, something like that. But flown a little farther out, a couple of lunar distances, up to 4. That's basically when they consider them a potential threat. 4 lunar distances, about 1 million miles. So quite a few of them within 1 million miles. But nothing really big. 100 feet or so would be about the tops. But there have been a lot of them lately. Sometimes there's almost nothing as far as near-Earth asteroids passing by us, and sometimes there's a lot, and that's what we've got right now. So we'll kind of keep track of them. Oh, let's see. The JAXA, Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency, did not get their rocket to launch. They were going to launch a mission to the International Space Station, but there was some question on some of the equipment, I believe it was, and so they canceled. Okay, because so the cancellation is because additional investigation became necessary of the H-2B F-7 propulsion system. And it was scheduled for just a couple of days ago, so that's canceled or rescheduled. We'll see what happens. So no launch, but NASA is going to have a launch tomorrow, actually at local time, 8:46 in the morning. That's Eastern Daylight Time. They can launch in ICE Sat-2 from Vandenberg Air Force Base. So there's some launches going on. And it'd be nice to see some of them up close and live, but oh well. There's definitely more of them. So we got Vandenberg launching in the East Coast. Is it the East Coast or the West Coast? Can't remember anymore. Oh no, that's West Coast. And then Wallops Island on the East Coast, and then down in Florida launching. So a chance to see some rockets go up. And of course, I always like to see any mission that's going to the International Space Station. I've got it on my bucket list to see a capsule getting close to the space station. I always want to image something like that. Haven't done that yet, but that's one of my bucket list projects. Of course, we'll keep checking back with our chat room, see if anybody's got anything going on. Now, those of you in the East Coast of the U.S., buckle down. Make sure you, when you evacuate, don't forget, take your telescope, high on the priority list. Big Hurricane Florence supposed to hit sometime within the next couple of days, somewhere around mid-south U.S. coast. So hopefully everybody's got their equipment and evacuated safely, and then get back home when everything's cleared up. Hopefully everybody will have safe travels during this storm that's coming up. So hope for the best. Might as well take your telescope and head inland, because not going to be any viewing on the coast anyways. And then there's some storms, big storms heading out in the Pacific Ocean too. Lots of hurricanes and storms right now. Is it climate or just weather issues? We'll find out. Well, let's see where we want to go. Let's go to NASA and find out what else is going on. Yeah, if you want to see the hurricane, International Space Station's got some pretty good images of the hurricane from orbit. Even looking deep down into the eye of the angle sometimes gets pretty good. The International Space Station does not go around the Earth around its equator, but it goes around at an angle, so it gets up to about 55 degrees north latitude, down to 55 degrees south latitude. So it actually travels pretty high up and pretty far south, so it can basically pretty much cover most of the Earth when it's looking at it. So get a good chance to see down eyes of storms and things like that. The only thing we can't really see straight on would be something around the poles. But at least the space station does get pretty far up. and pretty far down to be able to see quite a few things. Looks like Martian skies are starting to clear a little bit for the rovers. Let me put a link into this article here. Hopefully they'll be clearing enough to be able to see, to be able to power up the batteries of Opportunity. So it's a matter of, it's not the dust on the solar panels, but it's the dust in the air, how much sunlight is actually coming through the atmosphere. That's what the solar panels really need. So it was quite a bit of downtime during those heavy sand-filled skies blocking out the sunlight to the solar panels. And of course it lost a lot of charge, and is it recoverable or not? That's what we're going to find out. So looks like the dust storms are kind of fading. The air is getting clear a little bit. We're getting more sunlight to the panels. So can they charge up? Is there enough battery chemicals in the battery to actually be able to revive once it takes, will it get a charge and take a charge? Or not? So that'll be the next thing, but it's getting closer. Got a few new people in our chat room. Want to say hi. We've got Recon and Archman. Welcome. Haven't seen you here before, so glad to have you in our chat room tonight. Of course, if you got any questions, just type them into the chat room, and I'll try to keep an eye out for them as best I can. Or maybe somebody will remind me, especially during break times. That's the best time to catch my eye in the chat room for questions. Let's see. Yeah, the ISS can see some auroras. It definitely gets high up towards the poles to be able to see some aurora from space. They cannot get as far north as Iceland. That sounds about right. Yep. I think would that be somewhere around Scotland, 55 degrees north latitude? I think so, something like that, for the ISS to be able to get up that way. Of course, easily get the aurora much higher than that. All right, let's see. Nothing else as far as space weather goes that I can see. Be nice to get some semi-close near-Earth objects to be able to see some go fly by again, because got to be a little bit of everything. When a rock flies by the Earth, it's got to be close enough for us to see. It has to be big enough for us to see for its distance. So kind of a trade-off. If it's closer to us, it doesn't have to be as big. If it's a little farther away from us, has to be bigger to make it bright enough to be able to see. And it has to pass by, preferably in the sunlight, but on the nighttime side of the Earth. Sounds like we're getting somebody coming in here. Is that you, Nick? Did you get in?
Hello, hello. Hello.
Hey, Nick, how are you doing?
I am going to really give Bill Gates a slapping for that one.
Was it time to what do you call it? Update your browser?
No, it wasn't a browser upgrade. It was, for some reason, I got hit with. I'm thinking it's a small minor Windows upgrade. And then, of course, I managed to get back online, the computer back up, and then it's Skype. Then Skype decided, yes, it has to upgrade.
I've been fortunate. Usually that's only happened within an hour of showtime, not like right at showtime, but it's been really close a few times.
The thing is, I've had Skype up for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
3 hours. And
yep.
Just as the call, halfway through the pre-show call, it decides it's going to cut my audio because it wants me to do a complete and utter reboot of my computer. Mm-hmm. Now, let's think. I have got at least 3 programs plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gadgets running.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to be shut down. I got to shut down the weather station software. I then have to save the browser, and even then, all the stories I've got saved for tonight, I've got to go pull them up again.
Gotta go find them.
There are days, I reckon, if Rob, our station director, could find a way to interface my 2-meter amateur radio gear into the show, it would be so much nicer and so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hearing a lot of giggling from StarStorm over that. Just sit there, 2-meter rig on the desk, little bit of static every now and again from the Cosmics, and but otherwise it should be perfect. Amateur radio is the only way to get out. When everything else fails, amateur radio succeeds.
Mm-hmm. Have you been talking to anybody in the hurricane zone? Well, I think they're still off the coast yet, though. So
no, actually, it's made landfall.
Oh, has it? Okay.
The networks haven't yet been activated. They're keeping everybody outside of the main landfall zone. The only people in there at the moment are the police, the National Guard, paramedics.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, including that, and even they're having trouble. But as I say, at the moment, the radio amateur will be in. Well, yeah, it landed this morning, as Rob is saying. It's landed. I was watching the BBC footage on BBC News at 10. So yeah, this is a kind of vicious storm, and I'm going to say this: if you don't believe in climate change, go chat to Hurricane Florence. This is one of the most. This is apparently one of the most dangerous storms. And the good news is, I can tell everybody that Ground Zero was where Deep Sky Diva Tavi lives, but she's evacuated to southern climes, so she and her family are safe.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know people that, in Virginia that have evacuated already. So, as I was saying earlier, if you're going to evacuate, make sure you take your telescope with you.
Oh yeah, because it may be floating.
It might be floating. Plus, you got to get clear skies anyway. So, if you're under that big cloud dome of a hurricane, you're not going to see anything anyway.
Yeah, but Marty, they reckon the cloud boundary itself is over 300 miles.
Well, yeah.
So that's a fair distance you got to go,
Mm-hmm.
and even then you're still going to get overspill from it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main cloud from the edge of the eye to the edge of the actual hurricane disk is 300 miles,
Mm-hmm.
and there's still going to be clouds and stuff beyond that. Don't forget, a lot of people are having Tropical Storm Gordon visit them that came ashore in up in the wonderful land of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about gone, but it's still bugging a few people.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, what else is going? Oh yeah, let's think. Hayabusa 2 has made I suppose you call it asteroid fall with Roigu, and they're practicing landing on it. So what else can I see that is going on? Oh yeah, it's Hurricane O'Clock somewhere, and Jimmy Buffett has just lived out a lyric from one of his songs, thanks to Florence.
Yeah.
I'm sure Glenn will get the point of that one. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I keep thinking of all the tropical storm hurricane movies. It's like, sit back and have a margarita and
well,
it.
yeah, there is that to it, and of course there is the hurricane in Louisiana. They do it in style. They have hurricane parties.
Not always good. Not always good at all.
No, but then again, even then, they know when not to have them. And I don't think they'll be having this one for Florence.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing is, of course, that it is it does weaken when it comes ashore. However, as the NOAA and NWS are telling everybody, just because it's come ashore and it's weakened, don't take it as a given. Hurricanes are kind of like comets. They do what they wish, when they wish, and how they wish.
Mm-hmm.
No one storm is the same.
At least this one traveled pretty slow, gave everybody a lot of time to prepare. But also, it's kind of tough being away from home for a longer period of time with a slow hurricane too. Well, yeah. Hopefully it'll dissipate quick enough and without a whole lot of damage to coastal cities and not too much flooding, stuff like that, and hope for the best and everybody can recover as efficiently and cheaply as possible. So best to everybody out there in those zones.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up. Don't worry, I'm just trying to pull up the chat room. because there is a lot of fun going on in the astronomy world right now. In fact, they've actually closed a solar observatory.
Yes, indeed. I've got that article too.
So I got the Popular Mechanics one. Yeah, I'm back in chat.
I've got CNET.
Okay, so where are we? FBI mysteriously closes New Mexico Observatory.
Mm-hmm.
This was sent to me by one of my friends in Tennessee. Yes, I'm back.
Yeah.
Con! Gotta give it a con. Well, that was a really good moment in the film.
It's
okay.
The Dunn Solar Telescope. That's what it's called. And
I have it known as the Sundrop Observatory.
The Sundrop?
Okay, so apparently what's happened is the observatory was first evacuated on September 6th, and it's still closed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, according to Lifson, the observatory has no date for reopening. Part of the investigation is a security issue. The observatory contacted the FBI, which has reported on the scene with multiple agents and a Black Hawk helicopter. They're taking this report seriously. According to the local sheriff, Benny House, the agency's been working with the Leos, but it's not sharing any details. Now, I actually was on one of my friends' Facebook pages, and I tend to agree with what is being. Hi, Red Shirt 3. Nah, it's not. The thing is that is fun. No, it's not Men in Black either. What it is, what some people will begin to think now, is that some suspicious radio equipment was found in the local post office. So the local post office is also shut.
Yep.
B, some was found on the observatory grounds, and C, they think someone was using the tower to take photographs into the White Sands missile.
Yes, it is nearby the White Sands Missile Range, so it was closed by the FBI without any information to the public, which I kind of wonder about that too. Like, hello, can't they think of a good cover story?
Yeah.
You know, what's wrong, so they can't come up with a good excuse for people to go, oh, well, that's all it is. Okay, well, we'll let it go. But no, they got to be totally silent, which is a worse thing to do. Come up with a convincing cover story, then people don't pay so much attention to it. Hello, aren't you like smart enough to think of an excuse for what's happening right now? Yeah, I've got this one too. What security issue may involve a foreign power attempting to use, like you said, to spy on nearby White Sands missile range. So, in fact, the whole place was observatories built by the military in 1947 when it realized the sun could interfere with radio communications. Mm-hmm. So, something along those lines, but who knows what it is. So, it's still closed. They didn't tell the local police what it is.
There is another nearby solar observatory, which is still in operation, and it too can look into the White Sands missile range. In fact, the other one is actually thought to be closer. So, as I say, that one is still open, but there is a lot of talk of suspect radio equipment in the Alamogordo post office. So even the employees have been taken away and given full medicals. So who knows what's really going on? I think someone just decided to have a bit of fun, and they don't realize really what they've done.
Hard to say. Can't really tell for sure until if they release information on what's going on. Yeah, I got it as listed as a Sunspot Solar Observatory also.
Yeah. So, as I say, it's one of those really, really weird things. I'm sure we're going to find out eventually. It's just a case of maybe waiting 25 years or 50 years before you can put an Freedom of Information Act request in to know what happened. Now,
they're being a little too quiet, which is just really not help things be quiet.
Well, yeah. Let's face it. The FBI tend to stick out like a sore thumb in these places, and flying a military Black Hawk helicopter round and round in circles is kind of like, hey guys, there's something going on over here.
But don't look over here. I'm waving, jumping up and down and waving, like look over there, when you're trying to be quiet. Yeah, not supposed to attract attention when you're trying to be mysterious yourself. It's like, hello.
But,
well. So I'm sure the staff will report if a member of the staff is no longer there.
I'm
in a
sure,
couple of weeks
sure
or something like
chatter. Yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be chatter in the astronomical community. If there's one thing that's true about astronomers, whether professional or amateur, we are a bunch of gossipers, and we love our gossip.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, it's true. You get a bunch of astronomers at a party, and all they're doing, they're standing around in a group together, and they're either talking work, or they're gossiping about so and so's new equipment. That so and so's got this, so and so's got that, so and so. Yeah, we can't really, because it's not in our nature. And I think that is the greatest thing, because again, this actually puts a size 9 Wellington boot, or a size 22 Wellington boot, if you really want to be funny, into the whole concept that NASA's hiding a asteroid that's on a collision course with Earth. From everybody's knowledge. Yeah, guess what, guys? There are too many astronomers. There's too many telescopes. There's Twitter. The Tom Baker style voice. My mate John Coulson does it so much better than I, anyway. But never mind. It would be front page news within hours. NASA wouldn't keep it quiet. Roscoff, JAXA, the Chinese, the Philippines. They've even got a space agency now. And they would not be keeping it quiet. They would
India.
I think most European countries have it. And, of course, the guys at North Hart Observatory, Guy and Daniel, yeah, quite right, BP, they would be, like, blasting it all over their Facebook accounts. You cannot keep anything like that a secret for long in the astronomical community.
That's right.
And that's why so many of us bitched. Yeah, word gets out. That's why we all bitched about the secrecy about the results from Rosetta. It was a complete and utter departure from the normal scientific process. The pictures were delayed. The information was delayed. Yeah, I can understand that maybe somebody wants to first crack at the data. That's fine.
It's usually the researchers.
Yeah.
Are entitled to first crack at the data.
Yeah. But the thing is, you when you've got results, you don't wait as long as some of them have to reveal them. Everybody wanted to know what was going on with Rosetta. We wanted to know what was happening with the rubber duck in space. Uptronics saying it's maybe Chinese spies hacking the antennas. No, I don't think they'd be on top of the solar observatory to do that. They'd stick out like a sore thumb. And let's face it, given the fact that it is a federal building, you would need to sign in and out at the main gate just to get that far. And as sure as Alice believes 3 impossible things before breakfast, it's a case of, yeah, right, okay, sunshine, what is your business? You're not on my list. Call back, make an appointment, then we'll let you in. It is at the end of the day a government installation, even though it's mostly manned but mostly a civilian operation. End of the day, it's a federal government reservation. There are rules. If you want to visit, you have to. Maybe BP they did, but it doesn't matter. The thing is, something is definitely going on, and they are using national security as the reason to put a blackout on it. Or
nothing's going on, and it's like a diversion.
Yeah.
That happens too. Let's do a diversion. We got some problem over here. Let's act like there's a problem over there, so that the people over here will feel it's not them, and they'll come back out. So there's tons of ways of playing the game like that.
Well, as I say, one person's already said to me in an IM whilst I was at work, you know what it is, Nick? There's a whole bunch of Pokemon just arrived, and
there you go.
They're trying to keep it secret. Charmander, Bulbasaur, and an Eevee's arrived, and nobody knows what the heck to do. That fiction has become suddenly real life. But anyway, under that we will find out.
Daddy?
Yeah.
Point out.
What's that?
Happened, it would probably be in Japan and not the U.S.
They got lost. StarStorm is pointing out that if it happened, it would probably happen in Japan first, not the US. I reckon they misread their maps and got lost.
Mm-hmm. Of course, I was thinking also the one possibility is that somebody screwed up and they rated it at the wrong time, and then they don't want the people to know that they were going looking for them, so that's why they're so quiet about it. So there's also a potential of a big FBI screw-up involved in this whole thing, too.
Well, you know what? They need some congeniality and to sort it out. I'm sure she'll fix it.
All right, let's do a little station identification. You are listening to the Event Horizon here on Astronomy.fm radio. It is another Friday evening, halfway through our program, about 9:30 in the evening on September the 14th, 2018. So Universal Time, that would put it Saturday morning, September the 15th at 1:30 in the morning. And that means we are still live and live for another half hour. So, of course, we invite you to come on into our chat room. Just go to the homepage at astronomy.fm. Look down where it says chat. Just click on that. It's easy. It'll get you to the login page. So type in a name, erase the part that says password, and then just hit login, and you'll be here. I want to thank everybody that's in, or acknowledge everybody that's in our chat room right now. We've got you and me. We've got a designation 579366. That means you don't actually have to type in a name, so you'll just get a designation number. We've got Glenn, StarStorm, Black Projects, Redshirt 3, Recon, Optronics, Archman, and that's it so far. But come on and join us. A couple people I haven't seen before. So new people, if you want to, just for fun, just type in where you're listening in from, just for the heck of it, just to kind of tell. It's always fun to know where somebody's listening in from, especially from some other countries around the world, because it's kind of hard to get up and listen to this show at 4 o'clock in the morning, I know, for some people. So most of our live audience is usually the UK, North America, and South America, occasionally Australia, since it is about 11 o'clock in the morning, something like that. So too bad.
Okay, saying that, Marty. So at the Royal Greenwich Observatory, it's 2:32 and 21 seconds.
That would be not Universal Time. That would be British summertime.
Yes. Summertime, yes. In New Delhi, it is 7:02 in the morning.
Okay.
In Bangkok, it is 8:32. Beijing and Manila, it is 9:32. In Seoul and Tokyo, it is 10:32. And at the Siding Springs Observatory, it's a whopping 11 o'clock, 11:32 in the morning.
I knew that one. Yep.
It's almost noon in Australia.
Used to have regular listeners that would pop in from there too. I'm sure I know we still have regular listeners, but they would pop into the chat room too. So not too bad. Early, comfortable time in the morning to tune in and listen to us.
And of course, if you're looking for the podcast, as always, I will put a link on the AFM Facebook page, which is going to take you to my YouTube account. And pretty much, I guess in the next couple of weeks, I will get around to creating a channel just for AFM, and you'll get the show. You can look at a pretty graphic, and I will put all the links there as well from this week's show. And I just want to thank StarStorm for getting the links. Another story I found, this is going back a little bit in time to August, was that TESS, although it was launched about 4 months ago, and it's designed to spend its time looking for planets. But they actually spotted something else. It's a comet that happens to be, well, according to the story, passing in our galactic neighborhood. Yeah, okay. So they're testing the new Comet Hunter systems. As part of the test, NASA pointed the camera at recently discovered comet C2018N1, which at that particular point was located nearly 13 million miles away. So... Recon. I wonder if that's my friend Mr. Harper. Anyway, so even though the satellite is in its testing phase, it's managed to capture a bunch of high-quality shots of the comet during a 17-hour period. And, of course, NASA being NASA, having fun with various programs, have stitched the images together into a short video. So it's NEOWISE C2018N1, and there's a nifty little video that's on YouTube. So as I say, they're using the same imaging method. Oh no, it's not. Oh well, fine, jolly good. You know, when you hear somebody that does the arc link bit, you got to think, must be a Cornishman, perhaps. Anyway, so they're obviously testing it, and Tess is going to be hunting by taking multiple accurate images of the same locations for months or even years at a time. So it needs to be able to detect subtle changes in the brightness, which that occurs when an exoplanet passes in front of its host star. And they've used exactly the same method to analyze C2018 N1. So once that phase is completed and they begin the new exoplanet search, although we haven't seen any results yet, the video of the comet is a very promising preamble to many future discoveries. I'm no, but I ain't telling. Okay, Glenn. But what else is going on? Oh yeah. Since we talked about the FBI story, let's head over to The Verge, and we all remember the leak on the space station.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's actually not on the space station.
I looked that one up. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. It's actually a leak on the Soyuz
capsule.
Now, the interesting thing is that it's a leak on the part that is jettisoned
from the capsule, I believe, right?
Well, it's actually part of the main body that's jettisoned before the capsule comes home.
Okay.
So basically, what they're saying is, and at first it was being said that it was sabotaged by an American astronaut.
Well, the Russians were saying that, but they say the Americans sabotage everything. So everybody's going, yeah, whatever. Okay, bye.
But the thing, it doesn't look, if being a micrometeorite has been ruled out,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't look like a drill hole. So maybe it's a real case of, well, you know what, the guy who putting it together made a boo-boo.
Mm-hmm.
Put a hole in the right place. He put a plate on top of it to hide it. It wasn't that much of a issue because it doesn't affect the spacecraft's performance on leaving the Earth.
Right. It's a pretty small hole.
It's a small hole, but it created a sufficient pressure drop. For it to be noticed by ground control.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing is, unfortunately, there are so many cameras at various points around the ISS. I don't think an astronaut could actually do a spacewalk undetected or unannounced, drill a hole in the Soyuz, because at the end of the day, that is their only ride home. Quite right, StarStorm. It's their only ride home. Even though the part is going to be jettisoned after detachment from the ISS. So, like I say, it is more of a case of, I think this is more of a homegrown mistake. It has happened. Roscoff, no doubt, when they catch the culprit, will do the traditional Russian thing, which is probably take him out, tell him what a terrible chap he is, and then shoot him. Well, let's face it, that's what they used to do, and they probably still do.
Yeah, maybe. I'm trying to find out who's on the crew right now, current ISS crew. Because I did see a report from, NASA said people said that NASA had a picture of the hole, and then they took it down. But there's still, obviously, the internet pictures don't go away.
There is a picture in this article.
Yeah, and there was a Russian cosmonaut talking about it. Of course, I didn't have a translation, so I don't know what he said, but he was kind of pointing to where it was at and stuff like that. I did see the old picture of a close-up of it, and a couple things that I could determine. One that I heard, it looks like a drill had actually drifted before it actually caught in the metal, which is when you're drilling by hand, you put your drill bit against the metal and start drilling, and a lot of times if you don't get it just right, the bit will drift around and make little squiggly marks.
Yeah,
so there's definitely squiggly marks by the hole, and also after you're getting really close, or after you've drilled all the way through, this hole happens to be actually near a frame it's actually in some framing, not in like a wall, but in a thicker frame. and the frame has got like a box frame right next to it. And what happens is when you drill all the way through, the drill punches through, and the chuck will actually could rub against something that's close by, and it looks like I actually see black marks on the nearby framing, which is usual from a plastic chuck, which is a hand tightened chuck. So you don't need a chuck key. You don't need a key to tighten it down. You just tighten it by hand. And I've done this before too. I've drilled through a hole, and then all of a sudden it hits something nearby and puts a black mark on it. So I could actually see the black mark on the framing too. So definitely looks like something that was drilled from the inside. I heard a comment from Commander Drew Fustel. He said it was definitely not anybody on the crew that did that. By the way, Drew Fustel is from Michigan, not too far from me.
Yeah. See, the thought of an astronaut or a cosmonaut deliberately sabotaging what basically is your only ride home is just not. Yeah, it is unthinkable.
Well, that's certainly possible because there's lots of lunatics in everything. But this is not a catastrophic failure type of hole.
No.
So that would kind of rule that out. Say it was in a frame instead of a wall, a thinner wall. So it would be a little bit more effort. This would be more like, we need to mount a piece of hardware in here. Let's drill a hole, tap it, run a bolt through it. Type of thing is one guess. Let me put this in our chat room. The crew, that's in on the ISS right now. So who knows? Oops, wrong.
Glenn is saying that he had a guy at work who drilled into a hot cabinet of 480. I'll tell you something, Glenn. I've actually seen somebody wiring up 3-phase at 490 volts, 3 kV. Mm-hmm. He used the wrong sockets. He went and plugged his Walkman power supply into it. Who remembers the cassette Walkmans? I do.
Oh, yes.
And then there was this big fat spark between his headphones. And the whole lot caught fire, and it shut the whole building down.
There's lots of that. So yeah, if you get into some, I've seen the videos. It's called a spark arc. Yeah. No, what's it called? Something arc. Anyways, you connect into too high a voltage with a low voltage equipment, and you could actually kind of explode yourself. That's happened to people before.
You can also get thrown right across the room, and basically,
if you're still alive,
yeah. Anyway,
so definitely called an inside job. Well, it was drilled. Definitely looks like it was drilled from the inside, purpose or by accident. Who knows? But they patched it. Small hole enough to cause a leak. Mm-hmm. Nothing catastrophic.
Now, the next thing I found, it's a Hubble picture. It's called it's from Gizmodo, and Hubble captures image of a truly warped dragon. So I'll put that into the chat, and it's quite a nice. It's a gravitational lens effect, obviously, that produces the dragon in the middle of the picture. It kind of looks more like one of the old worms. Spelled WRYMS, not WOR. So that's right. That's quite right.
A worm.
A worm. Worm. It's spelled WRYM. One of the long dragons, not a smog, but one of the really long dragons, mostly flightless. With no legs, so it kind of resembles snakes. But anyway, an ambitious use of the Hubble telescope. They're trying to map out some of the biggest, brightest, and furthest galaxies to understand the structure of the universe. And above is a picture from the survey featuring a strange warped feature called the Dragon. Now, this is a deep field image, so they point the telescope at a seemingly dark spot of sky, only to reveal it glimmering with distant galaxies. Now, they're doing a new survey. It's called Beyond Ultra Deep Frontier Fields and Legacy Observations, Buffalo for short. And I'm waiting for someone to do a comment about the B-52.
Well, this looks different than a dark area deep field. This was actually purposely photographing a galaxy cluster called Able 730, and the way that imaging something like this is to get the gravitational lensing out of it. So you get something with a fairly big, massive, far away, large galaxy. It will actually warp the light of objects way beyond it and then make them visible from the Earth. So instead of like a deep field of an empty area to pick up any galaxies, they're using a galaxy cluster as a lens to see what's way behind it, and then analyze those faint galaxies by using the gravity of a cluster.
And of course, the thing is, they're hoping that the observation will reveal some of the oldest galaxies from the universe's first billion years.
Mm-hmm. Usually on a picture, well, this one has like lots of curved galaxies, so they're obviously magnified from stuff way beyond. But what they usually look for is the little red spots. Yeah, little red spots are galaxies have been redshifted because they're so far away, and then you put your spectroscope on the little red spots, do a chemical analysis, and then you can kind of tell what the earliest galaxies were chemically composed of. And you can only do that by gravitational lensing. You've got to make those faraway galaxies much brighter, and even the Hubble Space Telescope can't do it enough, so got to use gravitational lensing to do that.
Yep. Now, another story, which is actually quite current and up to date, is Hayabusa 2. So, of course, as most of you know, Hayabusa 2 has now arrived at Ryugu, and it's now the JAXA team are now practicing their attempts. They're doing practice attempts to land on the asteroid.
Nice.
And of course, the interesting thing is. Yeah. Good night, Khan. Thank you very much. My middle name is Tiberius too. Sorry. Anyway.
Khan.
Yes. That was one of the best scenes I think in the movie. That and he really turned around and told Lieutenant J.G. Savick to Mr. Savick, just keep quoting regulations to me.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we're in a new era. We're in a new situation. We're trying to land on an asteroid. We're trying to get a sample, and you can actually see in the image a shadow of Hayabusa 2. It's the very dark spot in the bright region at center left. The brightness is caused, of course, by the sun's reflections. Why are we doing this? Well, there's one very good reason. Because the more we know about the composition of asteroids like Ryugu and Beppu, the better we can plan deflection missions later on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we do know that sometime in the 21 or 2200s, Beppu is actually potentially an Earth impactor. Now, I'm going to say this is a long time in the future and still a very remote possibility. Now, by going and sampling these particular asteroids, we get to understand how they're made up. Are they just loose conglomerates of rubble bound by gravity to each other? Are they solid objects? And of course, we can actually look more at the primeval solar system. Now, the big problem with the rocks on Earth, of course, is geologic processes are continuing. Rocks are being changed, they're being destroyed, they're being recreated. Now, rock cycle, yeah. So, of course, the thing is, most of the rocks now are completely different to what they were when the Earth was being created. So, by going to these places, we get to know more about the primitive solar system, because it's items like Ryugu, like Bennu, that actually help form the rocky planets. The other side of it, of course, is it allows us to understand the actual objects themselves. And by doing that, we're in a position where when it comes to having to design a deflection system Let's face it, the Armageddon system is not going to work. Yeah, we could probably shatter the object with nukes. All that's going to do is it's going to, instead of being one object crashing into one part of the Earth, you're going to have shrapnel.
In space, nukes don't work very well.
Exactly.
Nukes work best within an atmosphere because it basically moves the air. And the air is what does moving air is what does all the damage. So out in space, there's no air to move, so nukes don't do really well. Unless you can say if you put it, deep inside of an object, yeah, it could blow it apart, but not actually move it. So nukes, the old movies from the 50s, space movies, we'll just use a nuke on it and push out. It doesn't work out in space. I got a related article real quick because we're getting down to 10 minutes. A brand new, oldest rock on the Earth has been discovered. 4.4 billion years old. Discovered, is this the right article? There's been a couple of them. Nope, this is the Australia one. No, there's one that's even older, 4.8, I think. I had to find it. Discovered in near the Arctic or Antarctic. I can't remember. I got to find the article. But look around. I'll look around too. There's been another old rock that's been discovered, and they're pretty sure it's got indications of life in it. So older than the 3.8 billion years that was suspected for when life was first confirmed on the Earth. So older than that. So I'm going to see if I can find that rock. This was an old article about the zircon in Australia, but there's some older. The zircon was 4.4. I think it's, I know it was older than that, if I'm not mistaken. I got to find the article and see what I can do.
Yeah, so the thing is, the oldest rocks are the Genesis rocks and the Lewison sequences, mostly in places like Canada, Scotland, aka the Isle of Lewis, where they get their name. But they are slowly being taken in, changed, and spat out by the Earth as new rock. So being able to actually have access to this primordial material will change an awful lot of information we have. And of course, it may even help us understand how water was perhaps transported to the Earth. Was life transported in a roughly the same manner? There is a lot of potentially interesting information that can come out of this. And of course, it will give us a better idea of can we just get away with painting one side of the asteroid or rock or whatever with white paint and allowing the sun to do the work. A lot of theories and a lot of ideas for moving these so-called impactors away from the Earth have been spouted. Nothing has really been tested, but one of the ideas is using solar pressure, using the solar wind, and using light the same way as it would with a solar or the light sail to perhaps nudge it into a better trajectory.
I think this is the article I was looking for. At 3.8 to 4.3 billion years old for these rocks in the Arctic.
Yep, Canadian Arctic, yes, 4 billion, yeah.
It's something. It's from the new paper in Nature magazine. So either look there or just look up Arctic rocks with life, or just read this link right here. Which, if you're just listening in and it's not live, we will put it on our Facebook page, astronomy.f on Facebook. So I have a new hunt myself. I tried every time I hear about something in the news like this, I go on the hunt for where can I get some of these rocks to add to my collection.
Well, you're going to have to go right up. I hope you got some warm clothing, Marty.
It's usually more of a matter of who do I know that can get me a sample. I think I've got some stromatolite. I think I've got some Augustinese. Just a matter of who I know that might have some of these available. I'll have to look around and see.
It is a lot of paint, Archman, but as I say, it is really a case of we have to explore an awful lot of possibilities to see what we can do. Maybe we can build a solar sail on the light sail on the actual impact, on the threatening impactor. A lot of things can be done, and hopefully once we get out of low Earth orbit, cough, cough, hack, hack, we'll have the ability to actually visit some of these potentials. The number of known near Earth objects has gone through the roof. We went from a handful to thousands and hundreds of thousands, and we're still finding them. We're fortunate we're finding them at the rate of 40 a month. Now, what I'm going to do, this is for later, people. This is something you can all go watch later. Is the latest Sky at Night, and somebody has very, very nicely put it up onto YouTube. So just 1 second, and I'll pull up a link.
Okay. I was going to mention on moving asteroids. Some of them would be like a snowman. A snowman here, especially in the States, you get a ball of snow about 3 feet diameter. Then you put on top of it a ball of snow about 2 feet diameter. Then you put another one on top about 1 foot diameter. That makes the head and add eyes and stuff like that. Trying to push the head off with a very sharp, pointy stick doesn't work.
No,
because all you do is push the stick into it, but it doesn't push it over. So that's what we think maybe some of these rubble pile asteroids would be like, trying to push them. But all you really can do is just poke into them. So that would make them extremely difficult to deflect with that type of a method. I always thought, well, if it's not really, really big, but just still kind of dangerously big, well, put a rocket on it, pointing quote unquote down, and fire it and basically make it into a spaceship. Well, if it's a rubble pile one, your rocket engine might actually go into the asteroid before it actually moves it.
And then start spitting and
well, then you got
stopping.
nothing. You've not done what you intended to do.
Absolutely. So as I say, what we really have to do, and I think this is probably going to be the really, really big challenge, is that we have to find out exactly what this stuff is made of. And there is actually a very nice segment. I think it's about 3/4 of the way through the show, with a previous guest on Comet Watch talking about these near-Earth objects Yes, StarStorm, I'm always going to plug Comet Watch. So yeah, it's going to get interesting, I think, and I think we're going to start finding out an awful lot more about that one.
I just put a link into our chat room about the launch that's going on tomorrow morning. This article tells what that satellite is actually going to do. It's NASA's Ice, Cloud, and Land Elevation Satellite, or ISAT-2. Basically, it's going to try to measure the changing heights of Earth's ice. So that article's you can also get from NASA's in our chat room now too, and it'll be up on our Facebook page.
Okay.
Couple of minutes.
Yes, couple of minutes. What else is going on? Well, our friend Mr. Musk is actually signing up his first private passenger to go around the moon. So I'm just pulling up the article right now, and this is probably going to be the last one we get through. But you know what? You can't beat a SpaceX article. And there you go. This is from and this is from via Reuters. So SpaceX has signed up its first private passenger to fly around the moon. And
I would take that flight.
I would take it in a heartbeat. The BFR is going to look something like Dan Dare's Anastasia, the way things are going. Message received, Rob. Okay, so I'm standing by.
I got one more for the chat room. Star chart of Comet Giacobini-Zinner. It's going to actually pass in front of Messier 35 in foot of Gemini real soon. Here's the star chart.
Yeah.
Well, You got about 20 seconds
Yeah.
for
Okay.
comments,
so-
and then we'll hit the radio.
Yeah, get into
That's-
that point.
that's-
I've seen the comet. It's a lovely green comet. It's got a lovely tail. I will be going onto the remote scopes shortly to get another image of it from New Mexico, ironically. And so basically, I think it's time to do the deed.
Call the mothership.
Captain Savick, this is the away team. 3 to beam up.
All right,
Energize. Good night, everyone.
appreciate you all listening in. Thanks everybody in chat.
We hope that you've enjoyed this program from AFM Radio, the broadcast service of Astronomy.fm. This program has been released under Creative Commons license. Please contact us for details. You may find more of our AFM original programs on our website. It's really easy to find us. We are Astronomy.fm. You may also find us in the iTunes radio listings near the top of the News Talk section, and also as an iTunes podcast selection. We'd love to hear your comments. Please email us at radio@astronomy.fm. Thanks so much for being part of the voice of astronomy around the world and across the known universe. This is Astronomy.fm Radio.
Hi, this is Tavi Greiner, Astronomy.fm's Vice President of Communications. If you enjoy our programming, please let us know with a donation to astronomy.fm/donate. We really do rely on your support, and it's true, every little bit counts.
AFM.
There I was, doing my thing, and all of a sudden, wham! Astronomy right between the eyes.